Anyway.
Educating Ricky.
Good, we settled that then. Go on.
The titles that are meant to sort of pull you in.
Yeah.
We've got what was it? Stocking, Aitken and Waterman.
Yeah.
You've got It's Not His Vault. And Get a Load of This.
Get a load of this. So, which pun do I pick first? I think I'll go for, get a load of this.
Get a lobe of this.
Yeah, get a load of this, yeah.
Well, that's a story about a girl who, she was deaf, right, for 4 years. And, it happened quite a bit back this.
What year? Or was it,
I think it was
ages ago, was it?
Yeah, quite a bit back. She was deaf for about 4 years. Having an argument with her mum, it said, which I didn't quite understand. Because I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
But she was having an argument, and a man pushed her against a wall, and she banged her head, and her hearing came back.
Okay.
Was she wearing a Walkman, and it fell out? And she'd realised, oh,
There's no explanation.
There's no explanation? Well, why is that teaching me something then?
Right, so I knew you'd say this, right? So I thought, right, I'll stick something on it. Do you know that bees are deaf?
No! No, you can't just, no! No! If you ask someone something they don't know the answer to, they don't tell you something else. Just, I'll tell you something else then. I can't answer that, I'll tell you something else. Imagine that. If you asked a teacher. Look. How do birds fly? Wow, if you're gonna do that. Tallest building is, I mean, what?
Well...
That was the equivalent, Karl, of running away when we asked you a question.
Yeah, the intellectual equivalent of going, look over there, there's a monster.
Yeah.
Listen. What do you mean? What she? Okay, so
so her
there's
hearing
no
came back.
explanation. There's no explanation, or you don't know.
Well, there isn't one, is there? Really, it's a bit
What?
weird.
Did
But the only
did
thing
the doctors not look into it?
No, I think they just said, "Oh, that's good."
But, so again, I don't. Where did this information? Is that if you read this on
Is
the net?
that
Is that
it?
all they put on
There
the
was
net?
once a deaf woman who hit her head and she
And her
could hear.
hearing came back.
It was bizarre things about being deaf.
Was there
and-
three
Oh,
like?
yeah.
Was there
I've
sort
got
of,
that book. Yeah, it's a good book. That.
Was there three
Yeah.
more pages you just couldn't be bothered to read on?
Yeah.
No, it was just a little bit, and it
Was there a
said-
little picture, a cartoon picture?
No pictures. I just
Are we
read
going?
it.
Ow!
Look,
Ow!
if you
I
don't
can
want to
hear.
know, if you don't want to learn, you know.
Yeah. Okay, it's not his fault. Let me have It's Not His Fault. You gotta save this. This has gotta teach me something. It'll be an interesting story.
Right, It's Not His Vault. This fella.
Yeah. What year? Ages ago?
Olden times?
I'd say in the 70s.
Okay.
Would you? Any evidence for that?
And,
Does he wear flares in the story?
Right,
Is that
it's-
your reason?
no, it's a bit like Yori Geller, this fella, right? Where
Oh.
he's electric.
He's electric.
And, if he walks past the telly would fizz.
Uh-huh.
If he walked past the radio, it all goes like that.
Ooh.
His hair stuck up all the time. And he'd be having a bath and everything would be alright, and then the power would sort of switch on in his body, and the electric in his body made him jump out of the bath. So...
What do you mean so? What is that so? What does that so mean? You've given us nothing. You've given us nothing.
You'd have to at least give us the scientific explanation.
Yeah.
Electric eels have 400 volts in them.
Oh, is this the running away again?
What was that one called?
Yeah, but but
It's not his vault.
but there's a reason that not his fault. It's not his fault. I thought it was going to be something about keeping it in a safe.
I think we should do these the other way round. I
It's
think you
not
should
his
tell us
fault.
the story and then we'll hear the pun.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Right, let's leave it.
Do the last one. Do the last one. Carl's saying we're never doing this again because we don't appreciate it. Yeah, Carl, you don't know how good this feature is, mate.
Right, last one.
Yeah.
Stocking, Aitken and Waterman.
Go on then, tell me about that one. What's that? What am I going to learn from this?
Right, well, do you know the saying, put a sock in it?
I like it already.
Do you know the saying?
Yeah.
Right, well, do you know where it comes from?
I assume it's shut up, so I'll stuff your mouth with a sock to shut you
Well,
up.
Years ago.
Yeah. Sorry, am I right?
No, not really. Ages ago.
1970s?
50s,
Okay.
I'd say. Do you know the old,
I'd say.
do you know the old gramophone?
Yeah.
With the big horn on it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, well, those stereos didn't have a volume control on them. Right? So they'd be listening
Oh,
to
so you
the
put a
album,
sock in the...
and you'd
mute.
put something like a sock.
That's a real one, you see. That's taught me something. That's good. That's excellent, Carl. That is the only one that counts, like chewing the fat, if they're true. I'm assuming they are. It works. It's of interest. I haven't got it verified yet, but that is educating Ricky. That's brilliant. I will say the other two were more entertaining. So, you know, I don't...
Do you understand the distinction, though, between that one and Electrical Man?
And, or I've hit me head, I can hear you, Mum.
Yeah. Can you see the difference, though? Or...
not really, because when I read all three, I took something away from all of them.
What did you take away from the Electrical Man?
I just thought, oh, imagine that. Imagine how annoying that would be.
But that's not education, is
and
it
it's
really?
not taking anything away.
Think about it, right? We take our lives for granted all the time, don't you? You get up in the morning, it's like, oh, I'll get up and walk for a shower. Some people can't walk, right?
Yeah.
This guy, he can't even have a... You know what I mean? It's nice to have a bath, isn't it, when you got time on your hands and you can relax. This guy can't even do that. It might be alright for a bit, but he's not really enjoying it, because at any moment, it could strike.
Yeah.
So, he can't even do that. He can't comb his hair, because it keeps going a mess.
Yeah.
He can't watch his
Nor can you.
No, he can't.
Does he fight crime? What does he do with his powers?
I think he just has to sit around, because he can't work with machinery.
Right.
Because he'll probably blow a fuse.
Yeah, so he just sits around.
Think about it, what can he do? What normal things can he do?
Skateboarding.
Going for long walks.
Yeah.
Put a wetsuit on.
Well, he couldn't do that.
Why?
Ooh, water and electric.
No, wetsuits aren't actually wet. They're dry initially.
Just put a whole wetsuit on and walk round with flippers and
A
rub the
wetsuit's
sole.
not like a dinner jacket that's like really wet.
Well, all I'm saying is think. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And what was the other one again?
the girl's deaf for 4 years, hits her head.
Yeah. That's just.
What have you learned from that?
What is that?
Well, imagine how happy you'd be. Remember that time when I nearly died when I choked on a Mr. Freeze pop? Right?
No, tell us that one again.
No, I told you, didn't I?
Tell us again.
Yeah, but the people will remember it, and then it's...
They weren't listening. Go on. What happened?
It was ages ago when my mum and dad used to go out shopping on a Friday.
1970s?
Get the food in. get a week's load of food in the cupboard and that, and we'd, you know, they'd come in with all the food, and we'd all be like, oh god, you know, there's no food left on a Thursday really, so we'd all be hungry on the Friday by the time the food got in.
I love that!
And
That they
I'd be
wouldn't eat I imagine him like jackal puppies.
Yeah.
Just like licking your parents' mouth for food as they come through the door.
So they come in from the supermarket, they're emptying the box. Our kid had got some biscuits and what have you.
Frenzy, just a feeding frenzy, like pigeons.
I grabbed the Mr. Freeze pop and knocked it back really quick, but it wasn't frozen, so I knocked it back so it was like a liquid, and it went down the wrong way, right, and I was choking, right, and I nearly died. It must have been about, how long can you go before you die?
A couple of minutes to do
Right,
it.
I reckon about a minute 50. Right, I was really close to dying.
How do you know you were close to dying? Did your life flash before you?
No, but I just was like...
There's loads of instances of him eating pops.
Yeah, exactly.
I just was dead.
40 of those.
Whatever, right?
What do
anyway.
you think you'd see if your life flashed past you? What do you think, which elements would stand out for you, do you think?
What? Start now, go back. What do you remember? What's the first thing you remember?
As a kid?
Yeah, just tell it now.
Being in a hall and having our dog licking my face.
That's your earliest memory?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next one?
Right, next one's probably... Being at primary school with, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Was that your girlfriend?
Well, a little friend who was a girl.
Sure.
And we used to have, like, tins with letters in, and you'd have to write stuff. But anyway, what are we doing?
What? He got confused!
Right, so anyway...
I'm intrigued by the dog that was licking your face.
Well, bin that.
We won't win that.
No, it's a great feature. I just think you need to be a little bit more careful about what you consider to be education.
Gone funny. I fell over.
Alright, well,
We'll work on it next week. Play a tune, and what have you got for us? Because we've got a big competition.
We've
Come
got
on.
to do the competition. We've only got 25
Yeah, well, come on
Don't
then,
worry
quick
about
then.
it, Karl.
Do
Play a
something,
tune.
play
We'll
a
come back with
tune.
Rockbusters.
We've also got, Educating Ricky, where Karl educates me. The one last week, a girl, right? She was deaf, and she was had an argument with her mum, and she pushed her and she hit her head, and then she can hear again.
Yeah.
Don't know what I learnt from that.
No.
It might be subliminal, something might be going, it might be a metaphor that I will learn from.
Yeah, it's like
You
a
know, I might-
parable.
Yeah, so, look at his face. We might as well be talking Dutch, mightn't we, Karl? Say something quick, it's radio.
I don't understand what you want from me.
Oh, we're only joking.
Right, so... Educating Ricky, I've worked a bit harder this week, we've got some good stuff.
Okay.
I'll give you the
teaser headlines
the
later.
headlines in a bit.
Yeah. Death in Vegas. Scorpio Rising.
Featuring the voice of, is it Noel Gallagher?
Liam, innit?
Is it Liam?
Sounded a bit like him.
Liam, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, isn't it?
Excellent, yeah. Right, okay, let's get this show well and truly on the road. We better start, educating Ricky next, Carl? What have you got for me? I can't wait for learning. I need learning. I need education.
We should just
Teach
explain,
me something.
obviously, for those that have just tuned in, Karl, tries to teach Ricky 3 things each week.
Based on the pun title,
And yeah,
educating Rita.
each of them, just to tantalise Ricky, is, abbreviated into some kind of headline.
A cryptic clue involving a pun.
So what have you got for us this week?
They are really cryptic this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
First story, little headline, is, don't worry about him, he candle it.
He candle it.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit like he can handle it, but it's not. Brilliant.
Second one.
Oh, get a lobe of
I'm
Get a lobe of this.
Some classics. Who can forget? Get a lobe of this.
Yeah. Coming soon.
And Stocking Aitken Waterman. Go on.
Second one.
Yeah.
I'm committed to this treatment.
I'm committed to this treatment.
Yeah.
Alright, tantalising.
Yeah. And the last one, the police are causing a bit of a stare.
The way he looks when he says it. I wish we could see. Can't we get Karl on telly?
There's got to be a way. There's
We
got to be a way.
cannot. With all the cable channels, anyone can get on telly these days. Let's
Right,
let's phone up. Let's get you on Choice or something. Just a little. Just Karl.
What are you going for?
Oh, he can handle it. I think.
Don't worry about him, he candle it.
He candle it.
Sorry,
Okay,
yeah.
let's hear this one.
Right, are you familiar with the phrase, burning the candle at both ends?
Yeah.
Do you know how it's come about?
I know a man
Well,
who does.
I assumed that it was to get more light in the room.
How would that work?
Well, they'd put it sideways and light both wicks, so out of one candle they could get
No.
two. No, go on.
No, what it is...
I know what
is,
it means. It means you're doing too much. You're staying up too much.
Right.
You're not getting enough sleep, and you're
Well, years ago,
yeah.
when they didn't have light bulbs and that.
Oh yeah. What year is this? Literally ages ago, specifically.
Yeah, quite a bit back.
Okay.
Didn't have light bulbs and that, so they used to have candles
When
in
did
the...
the light bulb come in? Because I can't remember at the moment.
don't know.
Okay, go on.
So, yeah, so they've got a light bulb.
You're not. You wouldn't know. You're a doctor. You're not a historian. Go on.
And people who worked a lot of hours, yeah,
How many? Literally lots.
they get up early in the morning because they have to be up early,
Yeah,
and it's dark outside, so they light the candle,
sure.
and they wear it out a bit, and then they'd be getting in late as well,
Yeah.
and like, they'd be like, oh, it's dark, I'll have to light the candle again, and they're burning candle at both ends of the day. So that's where the saying comes from, burning the candle at both ends. So,
Alright.
that's a little lesson.
Yeah.
Lesson one.
Okay. Can I have?
No, you can't have
You
another
can't
one
rush
yet.
into them, Rick. You've got to.
I've got to soak
you've
in
got,
that.
You've got to soak that one in. Any questions for Karl off the back of that?
What do you think?
So people were. I mean, basically, where this comes from is people were
They're literally burning the candle at both ends of the day.
Sure.
There you go. So we've still got,
Go on.
I'm committed to this treatment, and
I can't wait. This is like Christmas
Rick, I
Eve for
should
me.
just say-
It's like Christmas. I've got to open another present now. I'm excited, Karl. I'm going to learn so much from this. What's the choices again? What
right, you've got left.
Still keep phoning your answers to
Email.
Email. Sorry, yeah.
The answers to Rockbusters.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Educating Ricky, part 2.
Right. I'm committed to this treatment.
Yeah.
Is one.
Oh,
of them.
I've got to go for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other one is the police are causing a bit of a stare.
He still says it like it's the best thing he's ever come up with, which in a way it is.
It could be. Right. Go on then. I'm committed to this treatment.
Right. Do you know the saying?
Is it just sayings now? Are they all sayings this week?
No, they're not.
Okay.
No, the other one isn't. Frog in your throat.
The saying, there's a frog in your throat?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
assume it's when you croak a little bit. You sound like a frog.
No. Right. Might seem a bit weird, this one, right? But years ago,
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. What is that clue? Committed to this treatment.
it's about frogs kermitted. Kermit.
Probably works better with a K and an ER written down.
Well, also, if you'd pronounced it kermitted,
yeah.
but not committed.
Committed to this treatment! Right, go on then.
That's
Right,
genius.
So yeah.
Well, what?
you go to the doctors and you go, my throat's hurting a bit.
Right.
And what they did ages ago.
Ages ago? What year was this approximately?
We are going back quite a bit with this one.
Oh, okay, go on.
And the doctor would say,
You got it in history. Imagine years ago, go on.
and the doctor would say, right, keep your mouth open, I need to look at your tonsils. And the jaw would ache a bit, because they weren't as quick back then, because they didn't have the technology and stuff, and they'd have to, like, stare at it and study it and stuff. And, like, they get an achy jaw, right?
Keeping their mouth open.
Yeah, like, you get, you know,
Yeah.
when you eat a Mars bar or whatever, it's a bit, So, they'd sat there, and they used to always close their mouth, and it used to annoy the doctor, right? So what they did, they used to get a toad,
right,
and put it in the mouth.
Rubbish.
Okay, keep talking. Keep talking.
And, that way, they couldn't close their mouth, because either they'd squash it,
Right.
or, apparently, you're not allowed to, lick a toad's back.
So the doctor would have them for breaking the law?
No, but it's poisonous, right? A toad's back. You should never lick a toad's back.
Or put it in your mouth, really.
Oh, just stop for a second.
Wait. What?
Can I just ask one question?
Go on,
Can I
yeah,
just
go
ask
on.
one question?
I've got a few, but
no,
go on.
Sure. My initial thought is, it sounds like a brilliant bit of sort of medical, knowledge there. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
My only thought is, how does the doctor see past the toad? At your tonsils?
What's he actually looking at with the mouth open? Surely the toad is
Isn't
in
it
the
like
way.
hopping around in the way?
It didn't say.
Sorry, and my first question is, was this on the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Karl, that is bollocks. That is, I mean,
Well, alright then. Let's turn this round. Where does the saying, you got a frog in your throat come from?
probably because you sound a bit croaky. Probably that. Probably because you sound a little bit like a frog when you've got a sore throat.
Karl, did you not question it just for a moment when you read it? Just for a second, didn't you think, that seems an odd approach? Firstly, why a frog, of all the different
Because
species?
it's poisonous. A toad.
So it's a toad as well?
Yeah, well, it worked. I'm committed. Worked.
No,
My point is, it's frog in the throat.
I was gonna change it to, have you heard the news Toad Day? But I went with the frog.
Oh God!
Right, so
that's
think
rubbish.
about it.
So that's rubbish. Next, can I have,
Let's play a tune, let's come up with the last one.
Open wide. Oh dear, that's interesting. Oh, here, doctor. Look, you've actually got a frog in your throat. I didn't get there. I put it in there. That's the most ludicrous story I've ever heard, Karl. Why don't you think when you read these things?
I think there's always going to be a bit of truth in all of these. I mean, that fella called up, didn't he, and said, I'm not sure about the, putting a frog in your throat if you've got, problems with your tonsils or whatever. But he said, years ago, if someone had toothache, they'd get hold of a frog and strap it to the face.
Yeah, sure.
So, maybe, down the line, maybe they did. Maybe they did do it
I think Caligula made his emperor, a horse and emperor as well, but I mean, it doesn't... Go on.
Dick Anderson's been back in touch.
Excellent.
I think, so he's obviously...
We've turned him round, he loves it now,
he's been tuning in,
he loves it now.
He says, Ricky, thanks for a really forgettable 2 hours of radio. I think I'll spend the time next week counting my feet. That's from Richard Anderson. So, we've turned him round.
Do you know where the phrase counting my feet comes from? Well, in the olden days, right, and I'm talking ages ago, when you really loved something, you used to, as a sign of respect, like, say, a radio show, you'd count your feet. And that's where that comes from, Karl.
Well, what about the frog thing with a poisonous back?
It's rubbish.
That's true. No, the toads have the secretions in there.
Why?
But they didn't put it in people's mouths.
No, so well, I'll tell you why. When a badger or a heron tastes the toad, it's horrible. Ugh. The toad might die, but it's for the good of the species, because then think how many toads, looking like that, a heron could eat in its lifetime. So the fact that one toad sacrificed all those other toads in that heron's manner will be safe.
Why? I mean, we've talked about animals a lot on the show, right?
Yeah.
And when God made a toad...
Sure. Right, okay, well, I'm gonna stop you there, straight away.
Don't. Just let him carry on.
Right.
Okay.
Like, there's annoying things out there, jellyfish is a big problem with me. I don't understand what they do in the sea and stuff.
Right.
Right, but we'll leave them.
God's a problem for me, but go on.
We won't talk about jellyfish. No. With the toad, right, if it's to protect itself...
Yeah.
Right, now
it's not to protect itself, it's to protect its species.
Yeah, but that, surely, right, if the toad had a choice. If God said, right, what I'm going to do for you here, you can have something like a lobster's got claws, big claws to have a fight. Or, I can give you something that if someone's having a go at you, you've got to try and persuade them to lick you back. As a defence.
Yeah.
What use is, right,
Oh, God's...
Well, I'll tell you why.
What is God
The
up
fact
to?
that there are still toads around is a testament to that defence working. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay? If the toad had died out, you'd have a point. But they're still around. It works. Alright?
And don't start slagging God off. He's got a lot on his plate. Basically, I think he took on too much.
Particularly in 1 week.
Exactly.
Carl's getting all flustered because I put an elastic band around his head. And we've had a definition of,
Well, hang on a
frog
sec,
in the throat.
because there's an update to that, Rick.
Go on.
We did just have, one, definition here of, a frog in the throat. Apparently this has come from some, internet site, so who knows, how convincing it is, but it says frog in the throat, meaning suffering from temporary hoarseness, needing to clear the throat. Origin from the Old English frogger, meaning hoarseness. That's from Chris. Now, that sounds slightly suspect to me.
Why?
But, frogger? I mean, it seems odd that it would derive from that when it so clearly appears to be you sound like a frog when you have a sore throat.
Yeah, but the word frog could come from frogger, because it
Frogger.
sounds like it's
I seem to remember,
croaking.
wasn't Frogger a game you could play on the,
Yeah,
on the
FedEx
Spectrum?
Spectrum,
That's a great
yeah.
game. But
Yeah.
listen, hang on, there's an update to that, because, just to
Common frog, of course, Rana temporara, that's the Latin name.
Well,
Your toad is Buffo Buffo.
You may be trying to show off, but I think you're about to embarrass yourself as well,
on.
because you've been slagging off young Karl.
Yeah.
It says here, another email, it doesn't tell us who it's from. Although it's hard to believe now, at one time, medieval physicians believed that the secretions of a frog could cure a cough if they were coated on the throat of the patient. That in itself sounds repulsive, but what makes the idea even worse is the application of the secretions. Instead of painting the treatment on, something which may also have seemed rational, a live frog was placed into the mouth of the sufferer, where it remained until the physician decided that the treatment was complete.
Right.
Apparently Shakespeare's son-in-law, that's a question mark, I don't know what that means. Anyway, it's no wonder that today a froggy or croaky attempt at speech is said to be a frog in your throat. So, you can see that what's happened there is Karl's misread, or been slightly misinformed about, a medieval practice. In a sense, you're both winners, just for taking part. What's your final one, Karl?
Right, the final story is, the police are causing a bit of a stir.
I can't wait.
It's about this fella, I think it's in England somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't know when it happened, but,
Literally ages ago, or?
well, I think it's when they were trying to crack down on, like, drunken people walking about in the street.
Oh, yeah.
And they found this fella.
Saturday. Big Saturday, that one.
And, found this fella, and, all the local people were saying, oh, look at him wandering around, he's drunk and what have you. That's not right, get the police in. He got arrested and that, and they got him in the court. And, the judge was there, and he says, so, you know, what's all this? What's going on? What are you doing wandering about when you've had a drink? You know the rules. You shouldn't be doing that. You had a glazed expression on your face. Blah, blah, blah. What do you have to say for yourself? He only had a glass eye.
So
that
you have
was-
2 glass eyes?
No, he had one. But that
Okay.
was, they were about to sort of lock him up.
Was he a
What,
bit pissed
'cause he
up
had-
as well?
Well, he was pretty livid.
But was he also drunk with a glass eye?
No, that's the
right.
weird thing. He wasn't even, he hadn't even had a drink.
So they just thought, because he had a weird stare.
Because his eyes were all glazed.
Yeah. Where'd you get this from? Why are you telling me this? No, but why are you telling me this? I mean, thank you, because it's, you know, killed a couple of minutes, but why is this educating me? What are you telling me here?
Because there's a bit of a thing there, a bit of a fable, that don't always judge a book by its cover. Yeah? So, the guy, he hadn't even had a drink. He'd probably just been shopping,
Yeah.
walking down the street, and everyone's, like, getting involved, like, what's he doing? He shouldn't...
Hang on, I don't understand. He's walking down the street, happens to have a glass eye. He was doing nothing else to suggest he was drunk. You don't pick people up just because their eye looks like that.
But even if it happened, why are you telling me? With no particular detail. I know this, that we're gonna get
There's not
people...
enough information.
I know, yeah.
No, there's a bit of a lesson there, educating Ricky, just, you know, just watch what you say. Don't always jump to conclusions.
The only education I can take from that is that, if I ever do become a policeman, I shouldn't just arrest people because they look a bit drunk. I should just tap their eye with a pen and goes, oh, okay, on you go.
Well,
On you go, yeah.
Guys, can I just stop you there? I'm just going to email Richard Anderson and tell him I agree.
Come on.
right, educating Ricky.
This is my favourite bit now.
You're just going to tease us, aren't you, with 3 headlines? If you
And
like.
I'm going to choose one, then we got the other 2 as well.
Yeah, that's
Go
the
on.
way it works, and at the end of it, you learn some stuff. Like I say, I'm struggling a bit with knowledge.
Yeah.
At last he confesses.
Yeah. Go on.
So the 3 headlines for you to pick from, we've got, first one, we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
I got a feeling there's some vegetables involved.
Yeah, go on.
Maybe. Second one, he's a bit of a nuisance.
Okay.
Alright?
Right.
And, third one, I'll bacon in the morning, if you're sick of having me here.
Oh, that one.
I'll bacon in the morning if you're sick of having me here.
Right, I'm having that one.
That's brilliant.
Right, well, it's a saying. Do you know, cold shoulder? Giving someone the cold shoulder?
Yeah.
Alright, if you have someone round at your house, and, you know, you try to get rid of them, and they're hanging around and stuff, and you're like, oh, I wish they'd go, I'm tired and that. Well, years ago,
When? Literally years ago. Well, ages ago.
sort of,
Olden times.
I think it said medieval times.
Yonks ago then, yonks ago.
Yeah. Medieval, yeah.
We're going back quite a bit on this
Well,
one.
you know when you find out these books, why don't you just pop down when it was?
Just make a note.
I don't think it says all the time, it just sort of says, you know, a few years back.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
Never.
Alright, I'll make an effort next week.
Okay.
Right? So, it's annoying that, because my girlfriend said to me, just make a note at the time, they'll stop having a go at you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And I kind of thought, oh, it's alright.
Didn't listen?
I don't think it matters anyway in this one. We're looking at the saying, right? So
Yeah.
it's giving someone a cold shoulder, right? And what it is, right? Ages ago, there wasn't enough houses for people.
Alright.
Because there wasn't much money being made. You know, there weren't big businesses. People weren't earning good money like they are now. So there wasn't as many houses, right? So what you ended up getting is like, you know, the rich people having a nice place to live.
Oh.
And the poor people were like wandering about, you know, looking for places to live and that. And what they ended up doing is, they had like, people would go round to the mate's house and say, look, I haven't got anywhere to live. It's a bit cold. Can you let me stay? Right? So they'd go, oh, alright, then you can stay a couple of days. But they ended up staying for like weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So, to sort of get rid of them, what they'd end up doing, they'd be making the dinner, and they'd, be making a lovely dinner, like a bit of meat, nice warm meat, and nice veg, gravy, and
This happened every time, did it?
No.
This is where the saying came
Is this
from.
what happened, Rick?
This is
what
happened
happened.
every time.
It was in that vague book.
the book of vague sayings and stuff.
Right, so yeah, so they'd be making a nice meal, but what they did, they looked after all the family, but the person who won't go home, they just give them some, like, sort of a cut-off of cold meat.
Right.
So they'd say, you're giving them the cold shoulder, meaning...
Right. Okay, that's rubbish. Okay, absolute.
Carl,
No,
why
no,
does that necessarily work?
Yeah. Why
Is
do
it not
do they always, in every situation when you want to get rid of a lodger, well, still feed him every day, but make the meat lukewarm. So
They always leave then.
Yeah.
Oh, this food's lukewarm. I'm gonna become homeless
and they
again,
go,
wandering the
hold
streets.
on, are you giving me the cold shoulder? Yes. Do you want me to leave? Yes. Just say leaving. No, I like to do it cryptically. That way, in years to come, someone will have a little saying about it.
Well, yeah, that was our bacon in the morning.
Yeah.
If you've had enough of meat, we'll leave that.
Well,
Bacon in the morning! Oh, bacon in the morning if you've had enough of me!
we'll come back. What are the others? Just tease us again with the others. We'll come back to those.
You've got, he's a bit of a nuisance, and,
Brilliant.
we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
Nice, looking forward to that.
Look at the way when I went to school, there was 2 kids with them big heads. Now,
You don't
never see them.
Sure.
Yeah, but no one else saw them anyway, Carl. It was only you that saw 2 of them, not related, and wouldn't hang around with each other, because you think they thought it would be too obvious. Webbed fingers and big heads. That's amazing.
And there was a kid with the pigeon chest, so...
Oh yeah, and the lady with the head like a bag of spuds.
Let's not
yeah,
go through
don't
these
wanna
again.
go
It just
through that.
raises too many questions that can't be answered.
Yeah.
Right then, so, we've got, we'll have a big fire tomorrow.
Yeah, go on.
Is that the one you want?
Let's
Yeah.
go for it.
Right, I think this was like round the 1700s.
Bluffing.
And
Just bluffing.
Who was the king then?
Dunno.
Go on.
But it's about the word bonfire. right?
Bonfire.
Bonfire.
Yeah.
Do you know where it comes from?
No, go on.
No.
Right, what happened is it's got nothing to do with Guy Fawkes and that, which is what I thought when I saw it. It's got nothing to do with that. But ages ago, at 1700s,
Yeah.
right, didn't have enough houses, like I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if that happens, you get people living on the streets,
Uh-huh.
you get
Sure.
diseases, people aren't cleaning properly,
Mm.
so you get more deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Alright?
Yeah.
So, think about it. You've got all these dead bodies lying around. They're running out of space, because there's, like, I don't know why they're running out of space. But,
Okay.
they haven't got much, I don't know why, really. I was gonna say they should have just buried them, but there's probably more land back then than now. Thinking about it.
I don't like it. He doesn't need anyone else in the room to have a
conversation
dialogue.
with himself.
Yeah, we could leave and we'd come back and he'd go, I've sorted it. Yeah,
But anyway, for some reason,
They presumably, if it's going to be they burnt them, it's presumably to do that it also kills the parasite or whatever's carrying the parasite on them, as opposed to burying them and not killing the disease.
well, yeah. So that. There you go. You've worked it out. They piled them up and they turned it into a celebration because there was a lot of fed up people at that time.
Is this to be the word bon, meaning good?
No. I'll tell you in a minute.
Go on.
So you've got all these people who are like going around and like, oh, you know, so and so died the other day, and you know, nearly every week someone they knew was dying.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like just constant like being depressed. So and they've got all these bodies lying everywhere. It's like, oh god, what are we gonna do? So they said, we're all too fed up at the moment. Said let's make this a better world.
This was 1701 by the time they got together.
Yeah.
So they said, what we need to do is have a big party. So they said, yeah,
Good thinking.
see what you're thinking. So they go, right, well, we'll put all the bodies
Yeah.
in a big pile, and they're all diseased and that. So
Yeah.
they set fire to the bodies,
Yeah.
and they said, let's have this as a celebration to remember them by, and you know, we'll have a drink and that, and have a chat. We'll have this big fire going, and it came from bone fire.
Ah.
Right.
So
Bone
it was
fire.
it was all the bones. Bonfire is bone fire.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's how it came about.
Yeah. In the 1700s.
Yeah.
That was.
No, probably. I reckon it was 1600.
Probably earlier.
I reckon it was the plague. I reckon it came from.
But interesting stuff. Interesting.